Welcome to Middle-earth. It's a world of magic and adventure. It's a world of hobbits, elves, dwarves, and men. But it's also a world in peril. A dark shadow is spreading across the land. This shadow comes from Mordor, ruled by the Dark Lord Sauron. Sauron desires one thing above all else: to rule Middle-earth. To achieve his goal, he created an object of immense power. The One Ring. It's not just a piece of jewelry, it's a weapon, a temptation. Forged in the fires of Mount Doom, this simple gold band holds the power to enslave entire races. Sauron poured his very essence into the ring, making it an extension of his will. It's a symbol of everything good and evil in Middle-earth. The story of the One Ring is a tale of power and the struggle to resist its allure. We'll follow the ring from the Second Age, when it was forged in secret, through the centuries it spent lost, waiting. We'll see how it corrupts, tempts, and ultimately meets its end. But this isn't just about a ring. It's about the choices we make and the hope that even when all seems lost, there's still good in the world. Our story begins in the Second Age of Middle-earth, a time long before hobbits wandered out of the Shire. Sauron, a fallen Maiar, decided to enslave the free peoples of Middle-earth. He journeyed to Eregion, home to the most skilled craftsfolk, the elves. These elves, known as the Noldor, were renowned for their craftsmanship, particularly in forging magical rings. Sauron, disguised as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, offered to teach them his knowledge. Section 2. Deception and Dominion. Sauron, the master deceiver, played his part well. He showered the elves with praise, fueling their pride and desire to create objects of immense power. The elves, caught in his web of words, poured their hearts into their work, unaware of the sinister purpose. They forged rings of power, each imbued with magic. 7 rings were given to the dwarf lords, 9 to the race of men. Little did they know, these gifts were chains of enslavement. The elves created 3 rings in secret, free from Sauron's control, but still bound to the fate of the other rings. But Sauron had a masterstroke that would grant him dominion over all the rings and their bearers. With each ring forged, Sauron's grip on Middle-earth tightened. Section 3. The Rings of Power. Imagine the fiery heart of Mount Doom. Amidst the molten rock and swirling flames, Sauron labors tirelessly. He pours his essence, his will, his hatred into the creation of his masterpiece, the One Ring to rule them all. Unlike the other rings, this ring was born of Sauron's malice, a testament to his lust for power. It was more than just a ring. It was a conduit for his will, a weapon to enslave entire races. As he slipped the One Ring onto his finger, a tremor ran through the very fabric of Middle-earth. Section 4. One Ring to rule them all. The creation of the One Ring was a turning point in the history of Middle-earth. Sauron, emboldened by the ring's power, launched devastating attacks against the free peoples. The elves, realizing the extent of Sauron's treachery, fought back with all their might. They knew that if Sauron regained the One Ring, all hope would be lost. The fate of Middle-earth hung in the balance, a desperate struggle between good and evil. The very air crackled with magic as ancient powers clashed. But Sauron had underestimated the resilience of the free peoples. The War of the Last Alliance was a desperate struggle for the very soul of Middle-earth. Elves, men, and dwarves united against a common enemy. They marched to Mordor, determined to end Sauron's reign of terror. On the slopes of Mount Doom, the final confrontation took place. Among the ranks of men stood Isildur, son of Elendil, playing a pivotal role in the battle's outcome. For 7 long years the war raged, a brutal stalemate that ground down even the most resolute warriors. The fate of Middle-earth hung in the balance. Now let's talk about the One Ring's powers. The real power lies in its control over the other rings of power. Sauron, wearing the One Ring, could control the thoughts and actions of those wearing the nine. He could twist their desires, amplify their fears, and turn them against their own kin. That's how he created the Nazgul, his most terrifying servants. One of the more visually striking powers of the One Ring is its ability to grant invisibility. This isn't just about disappearing from sight, it's about fading from the world, becoming unseen, unheard. We see this most clearly with Bilbo and Frodo. When they wear the ring, they step outside the normal flow of the world. They become invisible to mortal eyes, able to move unnoticed. But this invisibility comes at a price. The ring isolates its wearer, creating a barrier between them and everything they hold dear. And as the ring tightens its grip, the wearer risks losing themselves completely to the shadows. The One Ring doesn't just grant powers, it amplifies what's already there. It takes your desires, your fears, your deepest vulnerabilities, and cranks them up to 11. Take Boromir, for example, a noble warrior tempted by the ring's promise of power. The ring takes a noble desire and twists it into something dark and destructive. It's like a parasite feeding on your soul, growing stronger with every selfish thought. Now, let's talk about the ring's more subtle power, the one that whispers in the back of your mind. It's a master manipulator, this ring. It doesn't need to shout or threaten. It simply suggests, hints, and nudges you ever so slightly down a darker path. Remember how easily it turned the kings of men into wraiths? It whispered promises of power and glory. Slowly they succumbed, their ambition warping into an insatiable hunger. The ring plays on our insecurities, our fears, our hidden desires. It's a lie, a cruel trick designed to ensnare us in its web of deceit. The One Ring. It's more than just a powerful artifact. It has a will of its own. A singular, terrifying purpose drives it. This ring yearns to return to its master, the Dark Lord Sauron. It's not just a piece of metal. It's infused with Sauron's essence. It's constantly searching, reaching out with whispers of temptation, seeking the one it belongs to, Sauron. The One Ring's connection to Sauron is not just about power. It's about a bond, a corrupted reflection of the bonds of friendship and loyalty. Sauron poured a part of himself into the ring during its creation. It's not just an object to him, it's an extension of his will. This yearning is corrupted, twisted by Sauron's own darkness. It's a parasitic relationship, with the ring feeding on the negative emotions of those around it. This corrupted bond is what makes the ring so dangerous. The One Ring doesn't force its will on anyone. It whispers, it tempts, it plays on your desires, your fears, your deepest insecurities. Imagine a voice in your head, soft at first, barely audible. It tells you what you want to hear, feeds your ego, promises you the world. That's the One Ring at work. The One Ring is the ultimate power fantasy. It promises dominion over all things, the ability to bend the world to your will. It's a seductive promise, one that has lured countless individuals to their ruin. Who wouldn't want to be in control? To have the power to shape your destiny? But here's the catch. The ring's definition of dominion is about subjugation, ruling through fear and intimidation. And as the ring's influence grows, so too does the desire for control. It consumes you, warping your perception of the world. Section 5. The price of power. Power. It's a dangerous thing, especially when it comes at a price. And the One Ring, it demands a steep price indeed. It's about the toll it takes on your soul, the way it erodes your humanity. Think of it like a debt. You get a taste of power, but it always comes with strings attached. The longer you hold onto the ring, the deeper the debt becomes. And by the time you realize the price you're paying, it's often too late. The War of the Last Alliance ended with Sauron's defeat, but not his destruction. His essence, weakened but still potent, clung to the One Ring. Isildur, king of Gondor, claimed the ring as his own, a trophy of war. Little did he know the ring had plans of its own. The ring's journey is a testament to its cunning, its ability to manipulate events from the shadows. It whispered to Isildur, promised him power, tempted him with the possibility of rebuilding his shattered kingdom. But Isildur, though a valiant warrior, was not immune to the ring's corrupting influence. It began subtly, as it always does. A growing distrust of his allies, a reluctance to relinquish the ring, a belief that he and he alone could wield its power for good. It was a dangerous delusion, one that would have dire consequences. As Isildur traveled homeward, his mind clouded by the ring, he walked into an ambush. The ring, sensing an opportunity to escape its captor and continue its journey back to Sauron, slipped from Isildur's finger and fell into the river Anduin. Deep within the misty mountains, far from the eyes of men and elves, the One Ring lay hidden. The river had carried it far from the battlefield, depositing it into a dark and silent world. But the ring was not content to remain lost forever. It yearned for a master, a vessel to carry it back to Sauron. And so it waited, whispering, tempting, calling out to any creature that might hear its siren song. It was a creature named Deagle, a store hobbit out on a fishing trip, who stumbled upon the ring. Drawn by its beauty, its allure, he reached out and claimed it as his own. But the ring's influence is swift and absolute. Smeagol, Deagle's companion, was instantly consumed by envy, driven mad by the desire to possess the ring. He murdered his friend for it, a testament to the ring's power to corrupt even the most innocent of hearts. And so, the One Ring found a new master, a creature twisted by its power, a creature that would become a mere shell of his former self. Gollum, driven by the ring's power, fled deep into the heart of the mountains. The ring became his only companion, his precious, the source of his misery and his twisted joy. For centuries, Gollum and the ring existed in a dark and isolated world. The ring whispered to him, fed his paranoia, amplified his fears. It twisted his mind, his body, transforming him into a creature of shadow and despair. But even in his madness, Gollum clung to the ring with a desperate love. It was his precious, his only solace in the darkness. A cruel irony, for the ring offered no comfort, no true companionship. It only deepened his isolation, his descent into madness. But the ring's plans extended far beyond the confines of Gollum's cave. The ring's time in Gollum's possession might have stretched on indefinitely, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. Deep beneath the misty mountains, in a network of goblin tunnels, a chance encounter would change everything. Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit on an unexpected adventure, stumbled upon the One Ring in the dark. Separated from his companions, lost and alone, he reached out and took the ring, unaware of the power he now held in his hand. It was a moment fraught with consequence, a turning point in the story of Middle-earth. The ring had found a new bearer, one far more suited to its purpose than the wretched Gollum. Bilbo, though a kind and gentle soul, was not immune to the ring's influence. It began subtly, as it always does, with a heightened sense of perception, an unusual ability to avoid danger. The One Ring, now in Bilbo's possession, journeyed back to the Shire. Years passed. Bilbo, under the ring's subtle influence, aged remarkably slowly, but the ring's presence did not go unnoticed. Gandalf the Grey, a wise wizard and friend to Bilbo, sensed the ring's power and recognized the danger it posed. He urged Bilbo to relinquish the ring, to pass it on to Frodo, Bilbo's heir. It was a difficult decision, but Bilbo, with a heavy heart, agreed. The ring, however, had no intention of remaining in the peaceful Shire. It yearned for its master, for the power of Mordor, and so it began to influence events, subtly at first, but with growing intensity. Whispers of danger reached the Shire. The Dark Lord Sauron was searching for his lost ring, his power growing with each passing day. It became clear that the ring could not remain hidden. It had to be destroyed. To this end, a fellowship was formed. 9 companions, bound by fate and duty, set out on a perilous quest to Mount Doom, the only place where the One Ring could be unmade. As the fellowship journeyed eastward, the One Ring's influence grew stronger. It whispered to each member, preying on their weaknesses, tempting them with promises of power. Boromir, noble warrior of Gondor, was seduced by the ring's offer of strength to protect his people. He succumbed to temptation, attempting to take the ring from Frodo. Even Gandalf the Wise felt the ring's pull, the seductive allure of its power. He resisted, but the encounter left him shaken, a reminder that no one, not even the most powerful beings in Middle-earth, was immune to the ring's corrupting influence. The ring sowed discord among the Fellowship, testing their loyalty, pushing them to their limits. Picture this: Mount Doom, a volcano spewing fire and ash. The very air is thick with the stench of sulfur. It's a place of utter desolation, a fitting end for something as evil as the One Ring. This is where Frodo's journey culminates. The weight of the world, quite literally, rests on his shoulders. He stands at the edge of the Crack of Doom, the molten heart of Mount Doom. The ring is almost unbearably heavy now, its pull relentless. It whispers promises of power, of release from his burden if he'd just keep it, claim it as his own. He's come so far, endured so much, and now, at the moment of truth, the ring makes its final, desperate bid for survival. But just when it seems all hope is lost, when Frodo's resolve begins to crumble, a strange thing happens. Gollum, the wretched creature who'd been following Frodo, obsessed with reclaiming his precious, suddenly appears. He attacks Frodo, biting, scratching, driven by an insane hunger for the ring. It's a scene of utter chaos, a desperate struggle at the very brink of oblivion. Frodo, caught off guard, loses his balance. Gollum, in a frenzy, manages to bite off Frodo's finger, the one wearing the ring. He shrieks in triumph, a chilling sound that echoes through the chamber, holding up the severed finger with the ring still on it. It's a moment of horrifying victory, but also one of ultimate irony. Blinded by his obsession, he doesn't see the danger, doesn't realize where he's standing. He stumbles, loses his footing, and with a final desperate cry, plunges into the fiery abyss. The One Ring is gone. The fires of Mount Doom, the very source of its power, consume it, melting it back into the nothingness from which it was forged. As the ring is unmade, a shockwave reverberates across the land. The very foundations of Barad-dûr, Sauron's fortress, crumble. The Dark Lord's power, so closely tied to the ring, dissipates, his reign of terror finally over. Across Middle-earth, those who were enslaved by Sauron feel the weight of his control lift. The elves rejoice, their rings free from the shadow of Mordor. The dwarves feel a burden lifted from their hearts, and in the distance, Mount Doom rumbles one last time, as if sighing in relief. The One Ring, the ultimate symbol of power and corruption, is no more. Can you imagine it? The fiery heart of Mount Doom, the very source of its creation, becoming its tomb. The echo of its destruction reverberated across Middle-earth, a death knell for Sauron's reign of terror. Remember that feeling of dread, that ever-present threat that loomed over every conversation, every decision. Gone. The world could breathe again. But it wasn't just the physical presence of the ring that vanished. It was the insidious whispers, the constant temptation, the insidious pull towards darkness that had haunted so many. The grip on the hearts and minds of those it had touched loosened, leaving behind a profound sense of relief, but also the scars of battles fought both within and without. Remember Boromir, his noble heart nearly consumed by the ring's promises? Or Gollum, a twisted shadow of his former self? The ring may be gone, but its victims, both those who succumbed and those who resisted, bear the marks of its passage. The One Ring may have been destroyed, but its story continues to resonate, doesn't it? It's a story that speaks to universal truths, to the enduring battle between good and evil, the seductive nature of power, and the courage it takes to resist temptation. Think about it. The ring didn't discriminate. It tempted kings and hobbits, wizards and warriors. It whispered promises of power, of control, of a world remade according to their will. And in their struggles, we see reflections of our own battles, our own temptations, our own capacity for both darkness and light. The ring's legacy is a reminder that even the smallest among us can make a difference. That even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage, friendship, and selflessness can prevail. The ring may be gone, but the lessons it taught us, the heroes it forged, and the sacrifices it demanded continue to inspire us, reminding us that the fight for what is right is never truly over. It's a legacy that challenges us to look within ourselves, to confront our own desires, and to choose the path of light, even when the shadows seem overwhelming. With the destruction of the One Ring, a new age dawned for Middle-earth. The shadow of Mordor receded, and the Free Peoples breathed a collective sigh of relief. Can you feel it? The weight that had pressed down on the world for centuries, that oppressive darkness, lifted. The natural world, so long choked by Sauron's evil, began to heal. Forests bloomed anew, rivers ran clear, and the air itself seemed to vibrate with a newfound energy, an echo of hope reborn. But the scars of conflict remained, a reminder of the sacrifices made and the constant vigilance required to safeguard peace. The heroes of the War of the Ring, forever marked by their experiences, returned to their homes, bearing the weight of memory and the quiet dignity of those who have faced ultimate evil and emerged victorious. For them, the world held a bittersweet beauty, a profound appreciation for the simple joys that had been so close to being lost forever. The quest to destroy the One Ring had forged bonds of friendship and loyalty that would never be broken, a testament to the enduring power of hope, even in the darkest of times.